going to show you exactly how I generate images step by step. I get a lot of questions about how I make these visuals, and it's actually way simpler than you think. I'm going to use examples from my Sunday story series so that you can see examples in action. Keep in mind that I do use ChatGPT 4.0 with the Plus subscription. Also spent hours and hours working with my GPT. So the responses I get are really based on my own training habits and the way I've been using it. For this video, it's actually easier for me just to record and then do the voiceover later. All right, so let's get started. Okay. So here I'm just getting ChatGPT on the same page as me. Since I've got a lot of projects going on at once, I always make sure to tell GPT which one I'm working on. This one is my image book Sunday series. That's a theme for the visuals today. All right, that brings us to rule number 1. Prompt a description of the scene you want displayed in the image. Every image needs a prompt. Prompts are actually super easy. The more you care about what's in the image, the more detailed your prompt should be. If you don't care that much, keep it simple. But if you've got a clear vision, don't be afraid to spell it out. Now that ChatGPT knows which project I'm working on, I'm sending in a couple of reference photos. These don't have to be generated with GPT. You can use any image to show the vibe or quality you want. In this case, I am using reference images that I built with ChatGPT for this Sunday series. And that brings us to rule number 2. If you have a reference image, use it. It really helps lock in the visual style and tone. So now ChatGPT is giving me a little recap of the images I sent in. We're on the same page now, which means it's time to start the first real prompt. Again, how detailed your prompt is just depends on how much of the image you want to control versus how much you want GPT to imagine on its own. So here I'm saying in summary, I'm thinking this next scene should be an airplane, maybe something funny like me passed out against the window, same outfit as the other images. My sister's next to me smiling, not in her wedding dress, but still with a veil. Her shirt can say bride. I'm going to prompt all of that now, and I'm using the same 5-finger cartoon style we've been doing. Realistic, but not real. This leads me to rule number 3. Make rules, help GPT understand you better for faster results. For example, I made a 5-finger rule because the cartoon generator used to only give 4 fingers. We set the rule that every cartoon human has 5 fingers now, and it just remembers that going forward. So here's the first prompt draft. GPT always gives me a preview first, and I read through it to make sure it matches what I asked for. If I need to adjust facial expressions, hand positions, or anything else, I can do that right here. This is behavior that you set up with your GPT just by working with it. This leads me to rule number 4. Avoid policy trigger words when describing skin tone, when kids are involved, or other sensitive topics. Instead of saying things like brown skin or black skin, I just say a family that looks like me. GPT already knows what I look like, and it creates the image based on that without crossing any policy lines. So here is the first image. Loading, loading, loading. Remember, I am speeding up the loading time. Your load time may differ. So here's the first image. I love it. It looks just like what I asked for. I go ahead and download it for use later, and it's off to the next prompt. So as you see, the process is very simple, but later on in this video, you will see how we fix images when they don't draft so perfectly. All right, for this next image, I'm thinking we need a luxury room scene, something with a view like an infinity pool and the beach in the background. The room has a hot tub on the balcony, a king-size bed, modern decor with wooden and white tones, champagne in a bucket, and a fully stocked bar with top shelf liquor. In this image, I'm smiling, holding a bottle, pouring, and a butler is standing there carrying my luggage. Okay, I'm putting all of this in. After sending, I actually stop my GPT, which leads me to rule number 5. Create rules with your GPT. The image generator is meant to start an image if the response looks enough like a prompt. Adding a rule like don't start image until I say ready stops any auto generation. This avoids wasting credits or generating too early before your details are finalized. You can always change your mind or add more before going live. So here's what happened. I thought GPT was about to generate the image too early, but because of our ready rule, it just wrote the prompt draft. When I reviewed it, everything looked good, so I said ready and we generated the image. The results are pretty close, but when I inspect the photo a bit further, I do notice that the butler is carrying an imaginary suitcase. So I gave GPT a specific correction. Make sure the butler is holding a real rolling suitcase in the right hand. Quick tip. Even if the image isn't perfect, I always download every version just in case I want to reuse something later or use it as a reference. You can skip this step if you want, but for me, it helps with quality control and saves time if I ever want to remix an earlier idea. Okay, so GPT has added in the prompt, a butler is carrying in a real rolling suitcase. I like this prompt, so I'm going to go ahead and say ready and see what GPT generates next. So the idea is nice, but the next issue is GPT generated an extra hand holding a shot glass. Again, I just corrected it in plain language. The shot glass should be held in one hand only. Just saying something as simple as let's specify allows GPT to understand that's the main part of the prompt that needs to be fixed. The prompt now specifies bottle with her right hand, glass held in her left hand. In all the reorganizing, I want to make sure that ChatGPT did not leave any details that we specified previously in this prompt draft now. Which leads us to rule number 6. Double check the prompts. GPT can leave out info after so many image generations. Remind GPT to remember the details. So now you see GPT presenting the prompts in a new way. Instead of one long paragraph, it's broken up into categories: cartoon style, main character, butler, sister, and so on. This actually makes it easier to read and easier to edit. Scroll down here and they even have the important details listed out for you. I want to show the difference between the prompts that we were getting originally. Here is the paragraph-like format, the narrative, and then we have the point-based style. Honestly, whichever format makes more sense to your brain is fine. You can actually tell GPT which prompt style you prefer. For this video, I'm sticking with the category layout. It's easier to manage. So here is the final image from that scene. It's perfect. Everything I asked for is in there. So I downloaded it and we celebrate it with a little wind jig, and then it's time for the next prompt. Now, that scene took 3 generations, not too bad, but at this point, we've probably generated 4 or 5 images in total, and that means our chat is starting to carry a lot of data. Just keep that in mind as we move forward. For this scene, I'm prompting the night out. I've got a black sundress with lace on the sleeves and him. My sister's in a white dress and her husband's in the button-down shirt. We're at beach bar, Cancun vibe, bright colors, maybe a live band, and a bartender pouring mini tequila shots with limes and salt. So this is a really detailed scene I'm describing: outfits, the environment, the background, and here comes the prompt draft. Again, using the category format, I say ready and it generates the image. While we're waiting on this image, let's get to rule number 7. If your images start becoming strange, check to see if GPT is holding too much info. In this case, the image is overloaded. There are triplets, tiny people, a random butler again, and way too much going on. Looking back, I do see the issue. The draft says sister and friends who look like the main characters. That's why everyone looks like me. So I'm going to need to fix that by saying they shouldn't literally all look like me, just like family. GPT updates the language to say they have similar features and skin tones, but different hairstyles and facial expressions. That way, the main character stands out, but everyone doesn't look like a clone. So I'm going to go ahead and say ready here. And let's see what the image generates. The new image, we're still off. Now there's double bartenders. Some people look like kids, and one hand is just floating in space. We have another outside of the picture frame, so this is not a vibe. So I have to go back. Everyone should be the same size. Only one bartender, no floating hands. I also let ChatGPT know what is working so we don't lose that progress. Again, when the data thread starts getting overloaded, so does your images. So you can really see the difference from when we had clean data starting to now when we're having a more overloaded base. I'm going to go ahead and continue with this prompt one or two more times just to show you the differences that you get, and then we will fix the issue. So GPT does fix the prompt, and OpenAI actually gives me one of those which outputs do you prefer tests. I pick my favorite and we keep moving. This leads me to rule number 8. When your prompt gets too crowded, simplify. I had too many moving parts in one scene, and the image started falling apart visually. So now I tell GPT to reduce the number of people and keep only the full-size characters. It gives a response here exactly. If we reduce the number of people, it will keep everyone full size, avoid crowding, and let you stand out more clearly. Here's a final simplified prompt draft to fix that. Okay, this looks good. So we say ready. The next image is better, but there's still one person who's just looks strange. You know how one thing can throw off the whole image? That's where we're at. So it is time to pivot. This brings us to rule number 9. If you're not getting the right image after 3 solid tries, start an entirely new chat. You can copy and paste your best prompts into the new thread and let GPT know you're continuing an earlier conversation. That helps it stay with you and not forget the key context. So I do that. Clean slate, same reference image so it remembers who the main characters are, and a slightly simpler prompt. GPT generates me a new simplified prompt that still holds the essence of what I was getting at in the last chat. Now, this new image is very close. The people look right. The setting is great. The only issue is I'm not wearing a different outfit, and for this scene, I need to be. So I told GPT I need to be in a dress and that my sister should also be in a white sundress, not a wedding dress. Just made that clear, gave it all to GPT, and let it do its thing. And here we go. The final image is perfect. We got 3 main characters, the band in the background, and a single bartender. It's exactly what I asked for. What's even cooler is we now have more of the Sunday Story series complete than I had 30 minutes ago. Progress. Just a reminder, these are cartoon style images. I also generate realistic and high definition visuals for branding and other projects, and I'll show those in future videos. This particular series is just for fun, lighthearted, and meant for storytelling. It's my image book, something playful and creative that I love doing. So, I really hope this helped you understand how I use ChatGPT to make images and how to work with it instead of fighting it. And that's it. And that's it. Super simple, right? Yeah. If you haven't wrote a bio to ChatGPT yet, check out episode 1 first. The episode shows you how to start from the simplest place, introducing yourself properly. And it also shows you how to build captions and hashtags. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how to create code names for your ChatGPT to understand you better. And look for an entirely separate video where I'm breaking down ad tactics and whether you should believe them or not. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. As always, this is OWCW. Let's have more of us with us here today than we did yesterday.